This video was created during the 2023 WGA and SAG strikes. Without the labor of the writers and actors currently on strike, Ahsoka wouldn't exist. Learn more about the strike at the link in the description. The first two episodes of Ahsoka have confirmed what trailers hinted at, that Sabine Wren was at one point the Padawan of Ahsoka Tano in training to become a Jedi, but a conversation with Huyang also highlighted her lack of natural talent in the Force. So today I want to talk about hints of her eventual Force sensitivity from Star Wars Rebels and where her story might be going. In Star Wars Rebels, there are several times you can hear the Force theme in the music relating to Sabine. Shout out to Roberto Alveri, who left a comment on the Geeky Waffle YouTube channel, which they then tweeted out, but Roberto did a lot of the heavy lifting for this. When Sabine agrees to learn to wield the Darksaber in the episode Trials of the Darksaber, the Force theme plays quietly. In the very next episode, after she defeats Scar Saxon and spares his life, the theme plays again as Sabine proclaims that killing Saxon might be the Mandalorian way, but it's not her way. And finally, the Force theme plays at the very end of the series as Sabine joins Ahsoka on the hunt for Ezra, a scene we saw at the end of episode 2 as well. That one was probably more about Ahsoka than Sabine, but in retrospect, it might be applicable for both. I definitely think hearing music that is so strongly connected to the Force play around Sabine is interesting. I wouldn't say that it's confirmation that she was or will become Force sensitive. I don't know if that was always Dave Filoni's plan for her. I think the Force theme could have played simply because it was a moment where Sabine accepted and embraced her destiny and the larger responsibility she could have in the rebellion. But I also think embracing your destiny and responsibility is part of connecting to the Force. And I think the most important part of Star Wars Rebels when it relates to Sabine and her training is once again in Trials of the Darksaber. Hera asks Kanan, a Jedi in hiding who is teaching Sabine, if she is struggling to learn because she doesn't have the Force. Kanan corrects her and says that the Force resides in all living beings, they simply have to be open to connecting to it, which I think gets harder and harder the older we get. In the Clone Wars, we see infants floating toys effortlessly. The connection comes easily for them, but as we get older and our relationship with the world changes, it's harder to hold on to that connection if we don't prioritize it. That's why the Jedi Order would be hesitant to take on older students. But we've seen that it can be done. Anakin, Luke, Leia, Rey, and Finn all discovered their connection to the Force much later in life. Of course, they all had Skywalker or Palpatine bloodlines, or in Finn's case, we just didn't get to see that part of his character much. So I think it's possible Sabine's story could be a real exploration into the struggles of someone learning to connect with the Force later in life. Someone who has no family history of Force sensitivity, and someone who is raised Mandalorian, which is a culture that I would say is not conducive for raising well-balanced individuals living in peace and harmony with the world around them. I guess I should point out that it's possible Sabine is a descendant of Tar Vizsla, the first Mandalorian Jedi. She is part of Clan Wren, which is loyal to House Vizsla, so maybe she could be related to some ancient Force user, but I hope they don't go that route. I don't think it's necessary. I'm also not sure it's necessary to see Sabine learn to wield the Force the same way a Jedi would. I think she will, to be clear. We might see something similar to the Ninth Jedi and the character Kara, who discovers her powers over the course of that short, but it's interesting to see Ahsoka training a Padawan who has no aptitude for the Force. This could raise questions about what it means to be a Jedi, which I think will be a central theme to the show. Ahsoka claims she isn't a Jedi despite embodying several of its core philosophies. Baylan is like a mirror version of Ahsoka, a former Jedi who has lost his way without the Order. We've already seen in the trailers Shin taunting Sabine for not having powers in the Force, but is that what makes a Jedi? Or is it your heart, what you fight for, and how you choose to fight for it? I think Force-wielding Jedi are always going to be the primary depiction of the Order in the Star Wars universe, and again, I think Sabine will probably learn to connect with and use the Force in the show, but I like the real-world applications of showing the audience that we don't need superpowers to be forces for the light side. But that's all I have to say about Sabine and her training for now. I expect this will be a topic I revisit over the course of the season. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for our continuing Ahsoka coverage, follow us on our socials, and consider checking out our Patreon page for video reactions and audio commentaries for every episode as they release. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.